Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be going over 5 things that are holding you back from ranking up today. The first thing that many low-ranked players have to master is their mentality. So many players will just give up after the enemy full caps on defense with 2 to 3 minutes left, and they won't be playing to their best ability and they'll just say go next. The easiest way to win in Overwatch is to play with a positive mindset and make sure that you aren't tilting yourself or your teammates. A simple tip for keeping a good mentality is taking a small break of 5 to 10 minutes after every time you lose a game just to reset your mental. You can take a walk, make some food, or even watch a GameLeap video, then hop right back in the game feeling fresh. Another great tip for keeping a good mentality is playing with a good duo partner, making sure you have somebody to keep your mentality up and somebody to bounce ideas off of, as well as staying positive with. A duo partner can also be a detriment because if you are bouncing negativity off your duo partner, then you can easily both end up tilted and then you will both be playing poorly. Now, before we get into the rest of the video, you need to check out our website at GameLeap.com. We have in-depth guides on tons of different heroes which are sure to help you get to the rank you desire, ranging from mindset to specific hero and map positioning guides, so you are sure to find something that helps. This next tip might sound weird, but how many of you are playing without actively thinking about your decisions? I bet that many of you don't even realize how often you can zone out while playing Overwatch. Realizing when you are zoned out and just droning through the game is an important factor for improving. You always want to be thinking about decisions before you actually make them. Whether it's when to use an ult or which target you're actively shooting at, just take a few seconds before you do anything important and question whether you actually want to do it or not. You should also be questioning whether this is the best option or if you have another option. This is especially important when you're about to use your ultimate, because wasting your ultimate in a winning fight can easily be the difference in between winning or losing the next fight, which can be the difference in between you winning or losing the game. Making sure that you're staying focused while playing Overwatch and actively thinking can be a difficult thing to do. Especially if you are focused on aiming or playing a DPS hero, you should try to do all of your thinking before you actually engage in the enemies or start a team fight. Whether it's just making small plans in your head so that you can act them out in the fight, or giving yourself an idea of who you should target during the fight and when to use your ultimate in a fight, you need to make sure that you are actually playing the game smart and thinking about how you're going to play before you actually play. Now, almost every low-ranked player doesn't respect high grounds or use them nearly enough. I cannot stress enough just how important playing on high grounds in Overwatch is, or just any PvP game for that matter. There are very few scenarios where playing on high grounds are worse than actually being on the low ground. You really only want to drop off high grounds if you're playing a tank hero or you need to be on the objective. As a DPS player, you have no excuse to not be on the high grounds, especially if you have a movement ability to easily access them. Before every fight and every single time you win a fight, you want to reset to the nearest high ground and you will find so much more success, not only in fighting enemies, but surviving. Now, one important thing about this is you should try not to chase the enemies and drop off the high ground unless you absolutely need to. Dropping off high grounds for a single elimination leading to your death or putting you in a bad position can easily be a throw play and lead to a loss in the teamfight or objective. And lastly, some maps don't have really great viable high grounds like on Lijiang Tower, so if you can't identify easily accessible height nearby, then you don't really need to worry about it too much if you're going out of your way. Next up, chasing and over pushing, then not falling back to your original position is a very common theme in all ranks of the game, not just in low elo. Oftentimes, after winning a team fight and pushing up to poke at enemies, players will push past important choke points and end up splitting from their team instead of rotating back towards the objective and slowly fighting the enemies until you get to a good defensive position. You need to make sure that you are identifying key choke points around the map, and whenever you are pushing aggressively, setting boundaries for yourself, saying that you won't push past certain areas. Even if you may get the elimination on someone, you may want to consider not chasing it if it can lead to you dying or getting split from your team. It's almost always better to keep yourself alive than trade one for one. Chasing Chasing is something that you almost never need to do in Overwatch, and if your current target leaves the team fight, you should learn to just swap targets to someone close by that your teammates are fighting instead of chasing the low HP target that you may or may not kill. Learning and respecting enemy cooldowns is one of the most important things to learn in Overwatch. If you are pushing into a Junkrat with both of his mines up, then you are going to be in for a bad time. The same goes with trying to burst down a Roadhog player that has his heal. There are tons of different defensive abilities in Overwatch that can easily stop you from killing an enemy. No matter who you are fighting, they will have key abilities that can prevent you from either killing them or help them reposition themselves if you are getting on top of them or diving them. You don't have to keep track of every ability in the game on every single enemy. It's important that if the enemy team has an Ana, that when you dive her, she doesn't have both nade and her sleep dart available. And if she does, you're probably not going to get that kill on Ana, and you're likely going to die without getting the elimination or doing any meaningful damage to the enemy team. The same goes with playing tank versus tank. If you're pushing into the enemy Zarya with both bubbles up, good luck bursting her down or actually getting the elimination on her. In almost every dueling scenario, whether it's DPS, support, or tank, you want to be getting a vague idea of the enemy's abilities and cooldowns in your head before you try and engage them. What you can do is bait the enemy's abilities out first. So if you're playing a tank hero and you're fighting another tank hero and you want to engage on them, you can simply play a little bit more defensively than you normally would, making sure that the enemy is using their abilities on you before you use your abilities on them. And then once their cooldowns run out, you can go aggressive on them while their abilities are on cooldown and yours are off cooldown, giving you a big advantage in the fight. Another good idea for this is bursting the enemy down before they can actually use their defensive abilities. Certain heroes like Orisa have Javelin Throw that she can easily stun an enemy against a wall before they can use their abilities to either get themselves away or heal themselves and save their life. Another great example is playing against a Sigma as Roadhog. Sigma can place his shield out and easily block Roadhog's hook even if it's just 1 HP of shield left. It's important that the Roadhog player is breaking Sigma's shield before using his hook so that he's not just wasting his hook doing nothing. And a good example of a player using a movement ability is if you're facing Pharah and you waste your movement ability chasing her on the ground, then she uses her jets to fly up above you and kill you. You have just got outplayed. You need to make sure that you're not getting baited into enemies whenever they are low HP, especially if they have cooldowns available that can save themselves. You always want to be understanding not only your opponent's abilities, but what their options are and how they are going to play before you actually engage and fight them. That is all for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Make sure that you check out our Overwatch 2 website. It is constantly being updated with new guides on every single hero, so make sure that you check out the website link right now in the description or go to GameLeap.com and sign up today.